Most people think financial stability comes from making more money, but that's only half the truth. Because if you don't know how to control your life, more money usually just creates more chaos. More subscriptions, more impulse purchases, more lifestyle inflation, more stress. And before you know it, you're earning more than ever, but still living paycheck to paycheck. That's why some people with average incomes feel calm, secure, and in control, while others make good money and still feel broke. The difference is not always income. A lot of the time, the difference is simplicity. Minimalism is not just about owning fewer things. It's about removing the financial noise that keeps draining your money, your focus, and your peace. And in this video, I want to show you the minimalist money rules that can make your life feel lighter, cleaner, and a lot more financially stable. Because sometimes, the fastest way to feel richer is not to add more, it's to need less. One of the biggest ways people waste money is by buying for a version of themselves that doesn't even exist. They buy expensive workout clothes for the person they hope they'll become. They buy books they'll never read, courses they'll never finish, kitchen gadgets they'll use once, furniture for a fantasy apartment, clothes for a lifestyle they don't actually live. And little by little, they build a life around imaginary habits instead of real ones. Minimalist money rule number 1 is simple. Buy for the life you actually live, not the life you keep fantasizing about. Because every time you buy something for a future version of yourself, you're often just paying for guilt in advance. And that guilt becomes clutter. Financial clutter, mental clutter, physical clutter. Stable people don't constantly try to purchase a new identity. They simplify. They become more honest. And that honesty saves a lot of money. A lot of people decide if something is affordable by asking one question. Can I technically pay for this? But that is the wrong question. Because just because you can buy something doesn't mean you can comfortably carry it. The real question is, will this purchase make my life feel lighter or heavier? Will it reduce stress or quietly create more of it? A car payment, a luxury phone, a bigger apartment, a fancy couch, a subscription you don't even use. Sometimes the true cost of something is not the price tag, it's the pressure that comes after. Minimalist money means understanding that financial stability is not just about numbers, it's about emotional weight. If a purchase adds stress to your life, it is probably too expensive for where you are right now. And there is nothing weak about admitting that. In fact, that kind of honesty is what protects your future. One of the biggest traps in modern life is lifestyle inflation. You get a raise, and suddenly your spending rises to meet it. You move to a nicer place, upgrade your car, buy more expensive food, start spending more casually. And because the upgrades happen slowly, it feels normal. But what's actually happening is your freedom is shrinking while your income is rising. That is one of the most dangerous financial illusions. Because if your expenses rise every time your income rises, you never actually become more stable. You just become more expensive to maintain. Minimalist money rule. When your income goes up, your life should not automatically become bigger. Your margin should become bigger. Your breathing room should become bigger. Your savings should become bigger. Because real wealth is not just about how much comes in. It's about how much pressure your life requires to survive. And a life that costs less to maintain is a life that gives you options. Modern life is full of tiny conveniences that quietly destroy financial stability. Food delivery, buy now, pay later, same-day shipping, subscriptions, impulse Amazon orders, paid apps, quick dopamine spending. None of these things feel dangerous in the moment. That's why they work. Because the modern money trap doesn't usually look like one giant mistake. It looks like 1,000 tiny leaks. And those leaks add up fast. Minimalism helps because it forces you to ask, do I actually need this? Or do I just want this right now because it feels easy? Financially stable people don't just avoid big, bad decisions. They reduce small, unnecessary ones. Because every unnecessary convenience usually costs more than money. It costs discipline, attention, and long-term control. And the more control you lose, the harder it becomes to build stability. Most people don't realize this, but the more complicated your life becomes, the more fragile it becomes too. The more stuff you own, the more things can break. The more bills you have, the more pressure you carry. The more commitments you create, the less flexibility you have. And that becomes dangerous when life hits you unexpectedly. A job loss, a car repair, a medical expense, a rent increase, a bad month. Minimalist money is powerful because it reduces the number of things that can financially hurt you. If your life is simpler, emergencies become less catastrophic. That doesn't mean life becomes perfect. It means life becomes less fragile. And in today's economy, that matters more than ever. Because stability is not just about building more, it's also about reducing what can break you. A lot of people are not buying things because they truly need them. They're buying things because they want to feel successful, to look successful, to feel like they're keeping up, to feel like they're not falling behind. But a lot of what people call success is actually just expensive insecurity. And the worst part is, it often creates a life that looks impressive from the outside, but feels exhausting on the inside. Minimalist money asks a different question. What kind of life actually feels peaceful? Not impressive, not flashy, not socially validated. Peaceful. Because if your life looks rich but constantly makes you anxious, that is not wealth. That is performance. And a lot of financially stable people don't look rich at all. They just sleep better. They breathe easier. They have margin. And that kind of peace is worth more than most people realize. One of the hardest truths about money is that stability usually looks boring. It doesn't look flashy. It doesn't look viral. It doesn't look luxurious. It looks like saying no, spending less, repeating simple habits, avoiding unnecessary upgrades, ignoring social pressure. And because it looks boring, a lot of people never stick with it. But the truth is, most financial chaos is loud. Most financial stability is quiet. It's built in small choices that nobody claps for. And over time, those small, quiet choices create a very different life. A life with less panic, less pressure, less dependence, and more control. That is what minimalist money is really about. Not deprivation, not punishment, not becoming cheap, but creating a life that doesn't constantly fight against you.